My coworker stole 3 months of my work and presented it as his own in front of the entire company, so I made sure everyone found out in the most public way possible. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I've been working at this mid-sized marketing firm for 4 years. I'm not the loudest person in the room. I don't go to happy hours. I don't do office politics. I just work. And for most of those 4 years, that was enough. My coworker, let's call him Daniel, started 8 months ago. Charming, well-dressed, always laughing too loud at the manager's jokes. The kind of guy who gets promoted not because of what he does, but because of how he makes people feel. I noticed early on that Daniel had a habit. Whenever someone shared an idea in a meeting, he'd go quiet, take notes. Then, a few days later, he'd bring it up again, rephrased, repackaged, as if he'd thought of it himself. Small things at first, nobody said anything. I told myself it wasn't my problem. In January, our department was given a challenge: find a way to reduce client acquisition costs, which had ballooned to nearly $400,000 annually. The manager wanted proposals in 6 weeks. I took it seriously. I stayed late. I pulled 3 years of campaign data, cross-referenced it with industry benchmarks, identified 4 specific inefficiencies, and built a full presentation: 34 slides, financial projections, a phased implementation plan. I even ran the numbers by a friend who works in finance to make sure they held up. I worked on it every evening for 5 weeks. My partner barely saw me. I ordered takeout 4 nights a week. I genuinely believed this proposal could change how our entire department operated. The week before the presentation, I made a mistake. A small, stupid mistake that I will never make again. I shared the draft with Daniel. He'd asked casually, "Hey, can I take a look? Maybe I can give you some feedback before you present." We sat near each other. He seemed genuinely interested. I thought, why not? We were colleagues. I trusted him. He spent 2 hours with that file. The presentation was on a Thursday. Conference room, full team, our department head flying in from the regional office. I wore the blazer I keep for important days. I was scheduled to go third. Daniel went first. He walked up to the screen, clicked to his first slide, and my stomach dropped. The structure was mine. The data points were mine. The phased implementation framework I'd spent 2 weeks designing, mine. He'd changed the fonts, rearranged 3 slides, added his name to the title page in large, confident letters. He presented it perfectly, smoothly, answered every question. Our department head nodded along, visibly impressed. I sat in that room for 45 minutes and did not move. My hands were flat on the table. My face was completely still. Inside, something was happening that I don't have a clean word for. It wasn't just anger. It was the specific, nauseating feeling of watching someone take something you built with your own exhaustion and wear it like a costume. When he finished, the room applauded. He looked at me and smiled. I smiled back. I didn't confront him that day. I didn't confront him the next day either. I went home, opened my laptop, and pulled every file with a timestamp. The first draft, dated January 14th. The research notes, dated January 9th. The email I'd sent myself as a backup. Proposal V1 do not share, dated January 11th. Then I drafted an email to Daniel. Short, professional, no accusation. Just, "Hey, I noticed your presentation covered a lot of the same ground as the proposal I've been working on. I have the original files if you'd like to compare notes. Can you reply with your thoughts on how this happened?" I sent it at 9:14 p.m. He replied at 11:52 p.m., 3 paragraphs, nervous energy in every sentence. Claimed he'd independently arrived at similar conclusions. Said our conversations had inspired his thinking. Apologized if there was any confusion. It was unmistakably a confession dressed in corporate language. I read it twice. Then I forwarded it, along with my original time-stamped files, to our manager, our department head, and the HR representative. Every person who had been in that conference room, in the CC line, all 47 people on our department mailing list. The subject line: following up on Thursday's presentation, some important context. I won't pretend it went cleanly. HR called me in the next morning. The phrase hostile work environment was used. I was asked whether I'd considered a private resolution. I said yes, I had. I'd sent Daniel a private email first. He chose to respond with a cover story instead of an apology. Daniel was put on a performance review. He's still at the company. He sits 2 desks away from me and has not spoken to me directly in 11 weeks. Sometimes I catch him looking at me across the room. I look back. Neither of us smiles anymore. But here's what nobody talks about. 3 people from other departments emailed me that week. Not about the drama, about the proposal itself. One of them is now piloting part of my implementation plan with her team. Our acquisition costs are already down 12%. My work is being used, just with my name on it this time. My partner says I handled it exactly right. 2 friends say I went too far, that I should have kept it between me and management. Maybe they're right. Maybe sending that email to 47 people was too much. Maybe I could have been more measured, more strategic, more forgiving. But I keep coming back to one thing. He stood in front of our entire company and took credit for 5 weeks of my life. He looked me in the eye and smiled. I just made sure the record was complete.